Got it. All right, man. We back. Oh shoot, hold on. I need to do this. Let me see here. All right, I'm back. Let me get you.
Okay.
All right, cool. Yeah, man. So I apologize, everybody. Man, I talked about some bullshit. And exactly, exactly, exactly what was supposed to happen. Yeah, man, exactly what's supposed to happen. So fast forwarding along, yeah, I asked him about was she doing some ridiculous stuff, and he would not rat on her. He wouldn't tell. So fast forward, we ended up in San Diego at the Greek show. I was in the Jetta. Juan, all the other dudes was running around the hotel creating havoc, and we kicked it. And you had told me about you being in the service and everything, and you were breaking down goals, like just some life goals. And I had never talked to anybody like out of our crew, like kind of like that. Everybody was just kind of lost, and it was before the Pharcyde was what people know as the Pharcyde. And I was really like, damn, like this is a dude that I want to get to know this cat. Like, man, he's forward thinking. So with that being said, you graduate from high school, you go into the service. How did you end up dancing?
Well, I was dancing before because you gotta think like I was in high school, so like from 9th grade to 12th grade, I was dancing. You know what I'm saying? Like so, it was like I was doing Uncle Jam's Army, going to the Casa, going to saying those going to the spots, going to Ultra Wave, saying those type of things. So then when I left, you still connected with people back home, and I'm still, I'm still seeing people because I was stationed in San Diego, and then went to 29 Palms. So people would still be going back to LA. You still hear the music, you still see everything that's going on. Then, when I had time off, I would drive back to the city. You know what I'm saying? So I drive back. People wonder like why my hair, but it didn't matter how my hair was cut back then because people wouldn't know because everybody was cutting their hair in a flat top style or whatever. You know what I'm saying? So people would know, but I would come, go to Paradise, go whatever, and then I had to drive back. I had to be like 29 pounds back at like. You have to be back dressed and everything like 5 a.m. back at 29 pounds. So like I would leave if I left the club like 1, I could make it back in time to stand in line.
Okay. Yeah, because I never, I knew you from the East versus West dance battle. That was kind of where I first saw like who you were. And then after that, it was kind of like over at SCU when you were with the group and you were, working on the Pharcyde stuff and all that. So after dancing, how did you start rapping and producing?
Well, I mean, shit. I mean, we were dancing for everybody. So you figure like at that time, we dancing for like Tone Loc, dancing for Candyman, dancing for everybody. And then Ras Kass was around. I say my first time of writing, actually trying to pen a rap would have been with Zulu Gremlin, would have been like in Japan because the Japanese singer was like, she wanted to have like this little rap part in her song. And she's like, it would be dope if you guys could rap. So like, it was like the dancers having like a little rap, whatever. And so like me, Robert, and Zulu Gremlin kind of like wrote some whatever type of rap. I don't know what I wrote back then. I couldn't even tell you. Probably was the wackest stuff ever, I can imagine. But we did it, and that was kind of like my first time like doing it. And then after getting turned down for doing the Remember the Time video, that was it. I was like, man, I'm fuck this dancing shit. Like, you know what I'm saying? I was like, I'm over with it. I'm rapping. That's what I'm doing now. So I was just full-fledged in after that, pretty much.
Yeah, it was interesting because I was around you guys at SCU a little bit, but after you guys had signed to Delicious, I was around definitely. But I can recall, I didn't know that the group's name was the Pharcyde until I had went with you guys to this club at Carlos and Charlie's, and I remember walking up. We all walked up past everybody to the security guard, and somebody said Pharcyde or Pharcyde 5, and the C's parted. and it was weird to me because I'm like, damn, these my homeboys. And I'm like, they say this word Pharcyde, and it really and
Pharcyde gave us another level of access, but I'll say, like, honestly, man, like, there always was access to the like man, I don't think I've ever had. Yeah, I just always had access to like, because man, I knew the promoters, I knew Seven Oasis, all of yeah, you know what I'm saying? So all the promoters, like dude, if somebody was standing at the door, I didn't have no problem getting in. Like, you know what I'm saying? Especially after the East West dance, it was a wrap. Like man, I skip around the line. Like, man, line, like what? You know what I'm saying? But yeah, when the Pharcyde stuff came in, that was like, okay, now instead of me getting into the little hip hop jams, I'm able to go to Sunset, you're able to go to House of Blues, you're able to go to Carlos and Charlie's, you're able to go to like Vertigo, and like, you know what I'm saying, where people are finally dressed, and I got my tennis shoes on, some baggy jeans looking hella dusty, and people like, I gotta wear shoes, look what he has on. And they were like, don't pay that no attention. Don't pay that no attention. Just, you know what I'm saying? Don't pay that no attention.
Skipping around a little bit, man. I'm gonna share a moment. And hopefully we don't. I don't have my iPad on right now, and I don't have my phone on watching. So hopefully it don't short circuit. But I've always been very ambitious, and you've been around stuff before I've been around stuff. Even though I've done seen a few things, but I think back. Whenever I want to just kind of calm myself down and ground myself and say, you know what, man, you human. I think about the time when we were in Lebanon, and we had just finished, doing the show with the Gorillas, and the after party was at this club called the Sky Bar, which was rated like #1 club in the world or whatever. And we're leaving. We had left the Gorilla show. And, man, we were as casual is, you know what I'm saying? We did a show. It was on the Red Sea. It was, man, it was no type of suit and boot to it. It was just pure casual. And we were walking, and I was really disillusioned, man. So we walk up to this club. It's nothing but, man, I've never seen this in my life. It was so many Bentleys, Ferraris, Aston Martins, every single thing.
Two blocks on both sides of every exotic car you could ever imagine.
Yeah, I've never seen that in the United States. So I'm like, Brown, I could get, we're gonna get in, dude. We're gonna get in. We're gonna get in.
Oh, not.
And I'm feeling all high off the Gorilla stuff. And I'm like, man, we here. Dude, we walked right up to that door, and homeboy wasn't feeling no parts of it. And I was like, damn, I have been humbled. You know what I'm saying?
No, we're not. We're not getting in that club. Not tonight. You know what I'm saying?
Oh,
not
man.
Tonight. That was a great club. Sure.
So when did you start producing?
Jeez. I would say at SCU definitely was the first time, because that they had all the equipment was there. And so I would say me trying to learn it, not Jay Swift, excuse me, I would have to say Pedro Martinez, LAJ, and Gadget. You know what I'm saying?
Gadget.
Was
Damn.
like the dude, because was like the dude, because Gadget was always there. And if I got stuck with something, I could just go across the hallway and Gadget always is in the room. Gadget stayed there all the time. And then I would just walk in the room and Gadget and Eric Bobo would probably be there, like, you know, working on something and doing whatever. But yeah, Gadget showed me a lot. Pedro broke it down. Like, you know, like Gadget was my emergency person. Pedro showed me how to really just like go into it. And I would say LAJ showed me some stuff, but he was basically the kind of the person that gave me the opportunity, like put me in physically in the position of like, okay, you got to do it. Like, you know, like we're producing, like we're in the studio doing it. So Jay Swift, we kind of worked together, but he didn't really show me anything. It was more or less like you kind of had to just you just kind of work together and kind of flow together. It wasn't like he was necessarily like showing me how to do certain things. And Lip showed some stuff too, because he knew a little something. He knew a little like truncated, whatever. So I say, but yeah, SCU was definitely the first place because it had all the equipment. You know what I'm saying? And then from there, that's when I just was like, okay, let me just get my little SP 1200 or a 4-track. I think I bought a Kai 4-track, something like that. That was like my first piece, just so I could record my vocals. Because that's how Passing Me By got recorded. It was like, I put it on like an 8-track tape, and I had the 8-track, and I was just recording the mic from the mic onto the 8-track tape.
You know, I never, it was weird because I was around, but I wasn't like a super, like I didn't even understand that the Pharcyde was happening when I was around. Like I was around music and I was around you guys doing stuff. And I remember one of the things that kind of made me kind of buy into your passion is that we were all young and hustling. Like we were all young, hustling, trying to make our ways. We were being exposed to Hollywood and whatnot. But one of the things that really just resonated with me was at the time, you know, all you guys were pretty much homeless by choice. Not, I'll say you all had places where you could rest, but you were homeless by choice to do this thing. And I remember that you guys, well, you for sure, because even though I knew Imani, we didn't hang around like for whatever reason, you and I, we clicked or whatever, but you would really have $1 a day. And you had a choice of an AM PM hamburger or a taco from Taco Bell. And that was really what it was. So it's you know, it's hard for me, and it has been hard for me to look at artists today and like to see the privilege that they want to claim and everything. And I'm just kind of like, damn, dude, I knew a dude who really like man, like
yeah, it was $1 a day. Either a scooter wooter, either I get the weight and get the scooter wooter from Quick and Split, maybe a couple fries, or I get the AM/PM burger, and that was it. You know, Burger King was a celebration. You know what I'm saying? Anything, you know, Fat Burgers was like, oh, that was like a buffet or something. You had some Fat Burgers money, but I mean, I had the job and everything, but I remember it was basically Fatley was like, because basically I had to drive from Pasadena down to SCU, and the whole thing was like, dude, we got to rehearse, we got to do this, we got to do that. So, dude, it would be hella for me to drive from Pasadena down to Inglewood every day after work, whatever. I'd be hella tired. I'd be like, whatever. Then it was sometimes I couldn't be there because I was working and everybody else was doing some stuff. So it was like, dude, you can't have a job, man. I was like, what do you mean I can't have a job? He's like, dude, you can't have a job because if you're serious, you need to be here. You need to be around every day. You need to be whatever every day. So I was like, damn, is that really it? Because like, man, I was always used to having money in high school. I always had a job. If I was mowing lawns, if I was doing whatever, like, man, I didn't like not having money in my pocket. That was bad vibes, man. Like, you can't do nothing without no money. So like, yeah, during that whole time of like making Bizarre Ride and going to SCU, that was like the sacrifice of like, okay, what do you really want to get out of life, kind of thing.
Dude, I never shared this in any of the Splendid episodes that I've done, but I was really like, I've been around, but I really witnessed a pivotal moment in history where all you guys' destinies could have went different. So when I started hanging out with you guys, going to clubs, this, that, and other, you know, man, I would just click with different people that had drive. And at the time, Robert and I had gotten really close and cool. So I told Robert that my mother had this VW Bug for sale. And so he had bought the Bug from my mom, and he was taking me and he was going to drop me off at SCU. And I had a car, but for whatever reason, I was riding with him, and he was going to drop me off at SCU. And like on the way, he was like, man, I don't want to do this no more, man. And he was like, you know, man, I want to dance. He was just like, man, I just love dancing. And that was when that was when you guys got Fat Lip, because it was like Robert was the part of, was GTI or was it 2 for 2?
Robert, that was 2 for 2. So
Okay.
You got like, so the combination, the reason why I was 2 for 2 was because basically it was like 2 people thought negative and 2 people thought positive, or I should say people. It was 2 people that we felt was optimistic and 2 people we felt was pessimistic, like half empty, half full. And that was like the kind of like the thought process. So right before, like during that time is when we was kicking it with Tony Basil, and me and Robert would go to Tony Basil, and we, you know, like, man, Robert was, that was my ex, you know what I'm saying? So like I hung with Robert. Like, man, Robert was the one that came to Pasadena, saw that I was dancing, was like, man, you need to be in this teaser Godfather thing we about to do. So GTI, that's how GTI was formatted, because basically it was Godfathers. GTI was Godfathers, teasers, and I can't even think of the man, it was another group. I can't it gets come to me. So that was why we called ourselves GTI, because it was 3 groups come to it. That's why Miguel was there, because Miguel was a Godfather. Brent and Robert was teasers. And so I was coming from Pasadena. I wasn't involved in any of that. So me and Robert had a battle, and then Robert was like, man, you should come down and hang with us. So then that's how me and Robert got tight. But going back to where your part of the story was, we had did the audition for Janet at Vertigo, because Tony Basil had brought Janet Jackson down, because I think Rhythm Nation was over and it was the next phase that Janet was on, and she was going out on tour. So Tony Basil brought her down. Me and Robert did some freestyle dancing at Vertigo, whatever. Walked up to Janet. She was like, yeah, you know, it's going to be really nice. I want you guys to come out. Tony Basil speaks highly of you, blah, blah, blah. So I think like that was just rolling in Robert's head. Like, man, this is Janet Jackson. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like Rhythm Nation was like, man, Rhythm Nation was crazy. You know what I'm saying? It was all about the dancers and Janet, you know what I'm saying? So yeah, he was like, man, that was his destiny. So like after that, when Robert came to you and said like, oh, I think I'm gonna be out, and he came, you know, he came to everybody. And then that's when I was like, Lip was already hanging with me and Imani. Trey would be out doing whatever he was doing with girls or whatever like that, you know what I'm saying? Hitchhiking David Banner from Watts to
Orange County. Orange County, Watts, Orange County.
You know what I'm saying? But so then I was like, I came up to him, I was like, man, we should put Fat Lip in the group. And Trey was always kind of like, I don't know about the dude like that. But me and Imani was cool with it. So then Trey was cool with it. But then like when I told Reggie Andrews, who was head of SCU at that time, Reggie was like, he's like, man, he was like, it's too many chiefs, man. He's like, it's too many chiefs. I just don't see it working. He was like, like Reggie said he didn't see it working. And then Jay Swift was like, he don't see it working because Reggie didn't see it working. So Jay Swift wasn't even with the whole situation because he was like, Lip's a solo dude and you guys are dancers and it's just not gonna whatever. And I was like, man, y'all gotta relax. I was like, man, this is natural progression. You know what I'm saying? And so that's kind of like how it formed.
Okay. Yeah, nah, because that was a trip. But yeah, I remember being with Robert. And he was going to come into SCU, but he just dropped me off and he was sad, man. He was really sad. But the crazy thing about it was he really, like from that moment on, he really took the Janet Jackson, like as far as you could kind of go as a Janet Jackson dancer. He really, I want to say he was staying at the house and he was driving he was driving.
Robert was calling us and he was staying at the Malibu mansion, driving the Jaguar, you know what I'm saying? Coming back
over. Yeah.
He was driving everything, you know what I'm saying? Which made me kind of question, like, man, did the nigga do the right move at the time? Like I was like, man, I'm over here. This fool is over here living life, you know what I'm saying? But that's what it was.
Yeah, nah, man. So you've been very well traveled. You motivated me to kind of get traveling. And it was funny because when my mom passed away, you were like, get your passport and come overseas with us, and you could do merch or whatever. And my whole thing was just like, I saw like different guys that had worked for you. And me, I was always been a hustler. So I was like, man, I'm not gonna be carrying nobody's bags and all the stuff I see these other dudes doing and all this kind of stuff. Like if I ever came out, I was gonna come out on my own, whatever. Which in my mind, I was thinking like, the first time that I thought I would come out with you guys, I would have a stack of cash. I would come out, I'd have you guys book hotel rooms, woo, woo, woo. But when my mom had passed, my mind was kind of, eggs was scrambled, mine was whatever. And when I came over, first stop Amsterdam, and I was just kind of like, damn, this is what they were talking about. Like I didn't understand that you could make money, that a person could make money outside of the United States, because the United States doesn't teach you that. You know what I'm saying? And I saw you guys kind of like, nomadically earning a living. You had been to Europe enough times to where you guys had friends in different places. Matt, the tour manager, he picked us up and everything. And I was like, dang, these guys they're not, what my vision of Europe was somewhere estranged to like
scary white people. Scary white people, man. You think you're gonna be scary white people? That's you can just say it, like, man.
Yeah, man.
You just like man. I mean, but I mean, just because you have scary, you have those. You had those pockets out here in the States where it's just like you deal with some elements. So you just think like, okay, if I'm dealing with it here, it's gonna be 10 times the strength if I go somewhere else. You know what I'm saying? Like that's what it's gonna be.
Man, it was so much love. It was so much love. And then at that time, the EU wasn't the EU. So it was like literally you're driving an hour and going to a different country, damn near like, just.
But you just gotta think like that, like, dude, that the forefathers such as like Miles Davis and people like that, you know what I'm saying? Those are the people that didn't get no love here in the States. And man, they had to go to Paris and like, man, when they went, they didn't want to come back. You know what I'm saying? Like, man, they married them a wife, they get hooked up. Like, man, I ain't going back. What do I need to go back?
Hey.
You know what I'm saying?
Hey man, I was there. I wasn't trying to marry nobody, but I was like, man, America ain't got this and we ain't got that. My mind was blown. Like my mind was blown. And then I kind of, it was at a moment. I was in a smoke shop in Amsterdam, and I had a Jewish guy on one side of me and a Muslim guy on the other side of me, and we were all smoking and talking. And I was like, dang, I'm over here not dissing America, but just saying that Europe had so much more than America. and I got two dudes. I got a Muslim dude and a Jewish dude, and we're sitting down and we're smoking. And I was like, man, these dudes is talking about LA is the greatest thing since sliced bread. And I'm just like, I'm tripping. They're like, and the one thing that the Muslim guy said to me, said, if you're in Los Angeles, depending on where you're at, you can have almost any type of food 24 hours. And I was like, and it didn't really make sense to me, because that was before we had like kind of like started the tour, because we'd always come to Amsterdam, kind of chill out a little bit, then we, you know, move across the country, the countries. And then I thought about it, and I was like, man, we do have a lot. Like we're spoiled, like we're jaded, dude. Like people don't even understand.
Well, it's not that. It's just like it's so much stuff that's in front of our face, and you just don't know how to take advantage of it until you see somebody from Nigeria come out here, and you just say like, man, this fool came out here with some sandals and a towel wrapped around, and now this fool is driving a Mercedes Benz. He got the finest girl, and you just like, man, how did that happen? How did that happen? Like he said he came out here with nothing, and then you start questioning, like, man, this fool must have been a prince or something. Like, you know what I'm saying? But dude, some people just they don't have that. So when they come out to LA, they can fully take advantage. And so when you go overseas and you see stuff, and then like you want to just claim like, yeah, this it's nothing greater. Like, dude, nobody could tell me that, dude, Japan, I was like, dude, Japan is greater than every place on the earth. Like, man, because I was going out there, I was like, man, there's nothing in LA. I was like, dude, Japan got the best food. You could go somewhere, you can eat late at night, you can go to clubs, you can go this, whatever. But even though it has all that, there's just some limitations. And some of the limitations that what I would say is, being in LA, you get to see some of that. You get to see the essence of where something starts, and then you realize that other places, they are building off of what you have the privilege of seeing up close and at first. You know what I'm saying? So you get to see the very strong version, or the very first version of something, when, you know, a European country or something, by the time they catch on to whatever our pop culture or whatever is going on here, they get in the version that's not the concentrated version. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, you know, I'll say, after I had sensationalized European travel, my moment of I guess that light beam, that shining moment, that I want to say we were in Germany or Austria, and it was like 9 o'clock and nothing was open to eat. And I was like, dang. I was like, you mean the town is shut down? Like it ain't nothing? And we ended up at a gas station. And I was like, wait a minute, man, I had it wrong, man. Like,
you talking pre-tuna snacks, man. You know what I'm saying? After that, the tuna snacks, you know what I'm saying? Don't leave the States without them, man. You know what I'm saying? A bag full of tuna snacks and crackers, man. You never know.
Yeah, those
German towns be shut down, man. You know, you hit those Australian small little countryside towns, ain't nothing open but some greasy fries and some microwave falafels, man, that has no crunch.
all sponge, no crunch. Yeah, man. That's a fact. So with all your travels and everything, what would you say your favorite country is?
Favorite country?
Mm-hmm.
Wow. Favorite country. I don't know. I don't know if I have. I mean, I would definitely still say Japan, because I just know it. I just know it the best. Mm-hmm. And I feel like I've never, I mean, of course, you're just going to run into some type of racism everywhere. I never had it like super harsh in Japan. And I could say like the food is cool. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like you know, depending if you're at a hotel or whatever, you can get the super buffet or some food, or you got the bomb
Man.
food, you know what I'm saying? So I mean, other places I like, but then like there's like something about it, like Amsterdam I like, but it could just be too much for you. You know what I'm saying? It could just be too much. And then, you know, places like Brazil is cool, but it's like, man, like you gotta watch your back everywhere. You know what I'm saying? So
Man.
so it's different, but I can say for me, like Japan definitely was one of the coolest places, just as far as the nightlife and everything that you could do, you know.
You know what? I'll say Japan, you know, and I didn't think about it until you said it. Japan was the first time that I had you know what? It wasn't the first time, but I'll say that I had some really good Indian food in Japan, and that kind of blew my mind. It wasn't because my first time getting Indian food, though, I'll share this one before we move on. One of the greatest perks of you guys recording Bizarre Ride and Lab Cabin was that nobody went hungry. So for me, I could come to the studio, and if you came to the studio, man, you could order anything, like anything. So like, man, I was familiar with Indian food. I was familiar with Mediterranean. Like I was open to all these different things based on you guys' budget for Bizarre Ride and some
Yeah,
of that.
man, that was Indian and Thai, man. Indian and Thai food was very, but I mean, you know, that it was a Hollywood thing, you know what I'm saying? Because you didn't get that, you don't get that type of food above below Pico, I should say. After Pico,
Oh yeah.
everything shipped, you know what I'm saying?
Oh
So,
yeah.
but in Hollywood, you know, man, the Indian, the Thai food, you ate what the natives eat, you know what I'm saying? I want that.
Yeah. No, that's it. So about maybe well, it was a couple weeks ago. It might even been a month now. Because we work in the same space, and everybody was in a big hoo-ha about Trump getting arrested, and everybody was buzzing around, and they're just waiting. And I gotta admit, I kept going on to YouTube and cruising around in between my work day, like man. And then it finally hit me, and I was like, no one's gonna get the satisfaction of seeing this dude in handcuffs, man. If he's dipped and dodged everything, literally everything that he's done, we're not gonna get that. Like they're not gonna give that to us. Like we're not gonna see him humiliated. We might see people say that they don't like him, but we're not gonna see him humiliated. So with him, quote unquote, getting arrested or walking into a police station or just whatever, how do you feel that affected the nation?
Jeez. How do I feel that it affected the nation? I think it just, I think the way that everything is played out is kind of just, it's more of a slap in the face.
Distractions. I think it's
You
just
know, it's not it's a slap in the face. It's a slap because anybody else, like I just look at it like, dude, now I can't say that I'm not a political on. I never was like an Obama fan or anything like that. You know what I'm saying? I'm only stating, but you just got to think like they really was questioning this man about his birth certificate. You know what I'm saying? So like, man, he was questioned from day one as far as whatever. Now, if Obama said, if he had a rape charge, which let's not forget, Trump had a rape charge.
several.
Let's not forget he said grab him in the pussy. Let's not forget that he damn near overthrowed, had the January 6th situation, overthrowing of the government.
Insurrection.
You know what I'm saying? So if anybody else, if Obama had did all those things, let's say if Obama was in the same position, dude, we would have seen that man, dude. They would have he probably would got the good old fashioned, man.
Strung up. They would have strung him up.
They would be like, man, we gotta bring back the good old rules, man.
They would have strung him up.
You know,
he would have one of them.
You know what I'm saying? They would have got what's her name to come back and sing blood on the leaves, man. You know what I'm saying? Like, man, he would have been swinging, man.
Yeah.
And so I think that the whole thing was just a slap in the face to just show the privilege, man, the privilege of like this guy coming from Mar-a-Lago and still tanned up and taking his time and there being an envoy of like, dude, he didn't even go in a police car, man. He went in the limousine, man. Come on, man. That's a whole different deal, man. Like, dude, Obama would have been in the police van or something.
Oh, yeah.
He would have been in I don't think he would have been in the limo, dude. He wouldn't have had the limo ride. You know,
they would have had him walking with the coat over handcuffs type of shit. They would have, yeah, it definitely would have been some humiliation involved in a
I just think it's just another sign of privilege, man. I think that's just another sign of privilege. And then that's what the whole world gets into it. But you know, I mean, it's just ongoing. You know, it ain't gonna stop. We know where we at.
All right. So now, before we get into the meat, we getting there though. We building him up. Because I'm a faux nerd, you know, imitation crab meat. Marvel versus DC.
Marvel.
All right. I'm by myself. Well, I think Mike was giving it up last week. I think Mike Realm, he gave it up to DC.
I mean, DC tried. They tried, dude, but it just you can't, come on, man. You can't match Marvel, dude. I mean, when I look at DC, I'd be like, man, these characters are hella emotional, man. Like they too human. They're too close to human, man. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like I want to watch something like, man, I need to see some powers, man. I don't need to see your, like, I want to see you crying because your girlfriend left, man. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like you're not, I need some ruggedness, man.
I never made that, but no, DC does have a lot of emotion. There's a lot of emotion in the characters, for real.
Yeah, that's, you know what I'm saying? So it's like watching a whole different thing. When you watch Marvel, it's like watching, like, you know, Neo, man. It's you looking for the fight scene. You're looking for some shooting. You're looking for some planets to blow up. You're looking for something different. You know what I'm saying? So definitely Marvel, I would say.
So me witnessing you, being around you all the time. I noticed you a lot on YouTube University and figuring out the latest technologies and whatnot. How does and do you think AI will affect the world?
I mean, it's already here. So, I mean, I just think that, I mean, everything is always already here, and then you just kind of like, they just start announcing it. But it's all like it's already here. Like if you look at a lot of YouTube stuff like that, I mean, it's not the AI what you think, but like most of the time when you see those YouTube videos and there's just a voice, that's all AI. Like, you know what I'm saying? It's just like you hear that voice and the person went blah, blah, blah. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like that's AI, but you know, it's been used it's just now getting an official stamp. I think like it's always kind of been around, but now like they're like, okay, we're going to stamp at this, but I don't know. I think they're gonna have to control it because, you know, my daughter Tassi's boyfriend, he works for Microsoft, and he's working like, you know, he has this thing where he has to they have to control these AIs because there was an AI that went Nazi. You ever heard about that?
Nah.
So there was an AI that basically people kept putting input into it, and basically the AI turned into like a Nazi, and they couldn't figure out a way to shut it off, and it just went rogue. And like, man, the computer programmers and everything, they had to go out and they had to kind of shut it off. So like, I just know it because like, you know, Tasi, that's what her man does. So she was just like, he has to control it, like, and so he has to have like some special security to go in, because these things, like, dude, they can, it's a lot, dude. It's some extra stuff that people don't know.
Yeah, I always tell people when they, you know, AI is like the trendy phrase or trendy term now, and then, you know, people started making these pictures of themselves, and then it's like, oh, okay, AI. But I tell people, man, whenever you're typing into your phone and it's finishing your sentences, that's
that's a version.
yeah.
That's like, you know, it's early version. It's like people wouldn't want to call a calculator a computer. You know what I'm saying? But a calculator, I mean, if you wasn't writing in the book and writing 2 + 2 down on a piece of paper, and you was able to press some numbers on a little thing, that's a computer. It's figuring out the problem for you. You know what I'm saying? But you wouldn't want to call it that. But I mean, the AI thing is just like, I just say, you know, look at it, try to learn, because it's here. Like one the thing about technology is, like, if you don't gravitate towards it when it first comes, and then you kind of wait later to try to catch up, it winds up being too much for you to try to just unravel. It's always easier when you catch it, like, you know, something in the beginning time, because everybody's trying to learn and everybody asks the same questions. But by the time it gets to a certain level, it's way beyond whatever you, and it's just too much to unravel. It's too much to unravel. So it's like, if you can, you know, that's why, like, it's like giving your senior parent or your grandma an iPhone, you know what I'm saying, the latest iPhone, and then if you just let them sit with that, dude, man, they gonna lose their mind. They don't know what to do. They going crazy. They don't know how to press this button, what is going on. I don't know, whatever. But if you know, they have like a simple phone, and they kind of got to train, dude. You got to train into it.
Yeah, I always got my dad the kind of phone that I had. And even though I knew he had to muddle his way through it with Blackberries and all that kind of stuff, my thing was like, man, at least if he has a question, I'll know what he's doing so I can navigate him through it. But I think now, and I'm like, dude, if I wouldn't have got this dude on smartphones, boy, it would be cricket or nothing.
You just gotta think, dude, there's self-driving cars. I mean, but in actuality, we're way late in technology. Because if you go and look at movies, if you go look at movies sometime, and you look at a movie, and if it says 2023, it'll show, like, dude, you'll see rocket ships, like, dude, it'll show like people with flying cars, like, dude, in 77 or whenever it was, people thought like 2023, like, man, like they was thinking we were gonna be somewhere way further than where we at right now. So like, I think it's one of those things where, like, the technology is there, but they really gotta, for people to make money, and for people just not to take control and just take over everything, they gotta strain it out, man. They gotta, you know, they gotta water it down. They can't give us everything.
Yeah, no, that's a fact. So now, man, I'm gonna bring you up to the present. We've gone to this. You know what? I'm gonna throw one more before we get to the business at hand. What would you say has been your most iconic moment in the entertainment industry?
The most iconic moment. That's a good one. Iconic moment. Because it depends. I think I've had transitional moments. So I don't know if it's iconic. So like, as a dancer, the East-West dance was like an iconic moment as far as LA. Because after that, like, man, I could go anywhere. Like, it was like, even though we didn't get the money, we could go anywhere and everybody knew what was going on. And so I would say that. Then when it came to the rapping stuff, when we did a show out in New York and Tip was there and Biz Markie was like the host, and there was a couple of other people there, that was like a big thing because Tip came up, he came to the balcony, was like, dude, you guys blew it, you guys are crazy. And just seeing the people that you kind of idolized and you kind of looked up to came, and that was another one. So yeah, I don't know. I think there's pivotal times. I don't think like in my mind, I can't say like the biggest like, oh, this is the Emmy Award or the Grammy Award or something like that was the biggest. I mean, I had some cool times, you know what I'm saying? Been close, you know what I'm saying? I say the best is yet to come. I try to leave it like that, you know what I'm saying?
Hey, I'll say this, man. I've got the footage, but I've never played it. And I know that you have something greater in store for it. But I'll say one of the iconic moments, flying first class with Arthur and Bobby Womack. I think when we were going to Lebanon.
Are you talking about the private plane?
No, when we were leaving the States.
Oh, okay.
Remember you had the little it was like the first version of a GoPro type of thing that with the click, and they never should have let us in first class.
Why you let them niggas in first class?
Oh man, yeah, that was an iconic moment. I got a kick out of it because I was able to witness the relationship that you and Bobby Womack kind of forged, because it was like, he really didn't know who the Gorillas were as far as like who they were. He knew what they were, but he really didn't know who. And I can remember we were in the we were checking our bags in. We had checked our bags in together, and I just remember him saying to me, he was like, man, I hate performing at them casinos, man. he was like, I hate performing at them casinos, man. And I remember feeling kind of good, and I was like, damn, Damon and those guys did do a good thing, because here was a guy who was older and he was making his way. He was a talented guy and he could do shows, but like, he really had the opportunity to move around the world later in age, you know what I'm saying, and move around in class. So that was like,
you just think like, dude, it depends on what you want to call. Like, okay, you can say that's iconic, but then is that more iconic than smoking a joint with Mick Jones?
Oh man,
the Clash, or like, you know what I'm saying? So like, it's like
Syria, you know what I'm saying?
But I'm just saying, just in general, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, man,
yeah.
like these are people I listen to, and you never thought you would hang around or
have
be
a personal relationship.
You know what I'm saying? And then you smoking a joint with Mick Jones, man. Like, dude, that's history, man. You know what I'm saying? That's history, So I can't say like what is more iconic. I think like they're all equally valued. I just try to remember it. Yeah, for sure.
All right. So we go through all of that. And now I'm gonna get one more. I keep on saying it. This is gonna be the last one, then we're gonna get to the meat at hand.
Go ahead.
If you could have your dream verses, dead or alive, who would you like to see battle who?
Dream verses. What would be the dream verses? The dream verses. And I can't, because I mean, people always, I don't know, like hip hop stuff. I mean, of course, I mean, the best one of all would be Prince against Michael Jackson. That would be the one that I think be the most dynamic. But I mean, there's a lot of interesting ones out there, because I say, like, if you had Parliament versus James Brown, you know what I'm saying? Like that, I think that would, because you got two different levels of the funk, you know what I'm saying? So that would, to me, that would just be interesting to kind of see, like, you know what I'm saying? Like James Brown come out there some dance, and then Parliament come out wearing some diapers and stuff, and you know, doing cosmic slop or something. So that would be interesting to me.
The unfair part of that battle is that because George was a lot of a cooler person than James, you would have people that played for James that would leave their instruments and go over to play for Funkadelic. If they battled each other, half the band would be leaving James to go over.
But I'm saying that's what makes it interesting, because you figure Bootsy played for both. You know what I'm saying? So it's just like, but it's just different. It's different techniques. So I would just say, like, it would just be interesting, the funk in two different versions.
Okay, so now we're gonna come to business at hand. I recall being with you at NAMM maybe, you know, over 15 years ago, and we didn't have a publicist, but we were doing something with somebody. Maybe Shelly had hooked us up, and you were doing an interview. And I remember during the interview, you mentioned this ultra funk hip wave. And I remember it just kind of resonated in my mind as a concept, and I really couldn't pin it. I really couldn't resonate to it. I've probably seen it more times than I care to see it, being that I worked on the art, you know, artwork and everything. And everything is ultra funk hip wave. So what is ultra funk hip wave?
So basically, I just feel like I've always kind of like named like Lab Cabin California, because Lab Cabin California was, everybody thought we was from New York. So I was like, nah, we from Cali. And so the reason why the album was named that was because, okay, we're in the house, everybody, we called it the cabin, you know what I'm saying? But it was the lab.
Yeah.
And I wanted to make sure that people knew that we was from California. So I was like, yo, like this is like the perfect amalgamation of everything that was going on at that time.
Real quick, man. Shout out to that neighbor that would come over when Lip would just leave the music on 10. He would just turn the music on 10 and just leave for days. And the neighbor you guys had would come over, and he would bang on the door with a boot, dude. He would just like
the ski boot definitely had the ski boot on his arm, dude. It was just like trying to break the door down, like turn the music down.
Oh man, I felt for him. But yeah, I had to add that in. That was
yeah. So ultra funk, now this is what people, and I always try to, everything is kind of like riddles. Everything, every like record is concept is always riddles. So as we were saying, when we were dancing back in the days, used to go to where? Ultra wave.
Mm-hmm.
So ultra wave is whatever. Then you have funk. So there was funk jungle. So a lot of the words are also representing the dance levels of periods of time that I was going through. But I felt like the music that I want to do as far as going forward, I don't want to, like how you asked, he was like, where is hip hop? And I was like, dude, hip hop is like, what is hip hop? Like, you know what I'm saying? So I feel like, okay, I want to do what everybody else do. I want to do what, you know, quote unquote, you know, those guys do, which they, you know, they go and they'll make a name for music, you know what I'm saying? And then I was like, dude, let me make my own name for my own style of music, or what I want it to be. So the concept's been there for a while. I just never knew how I was going to pull it off. And I think now that I feel like I'm forced to kind of create my own lane. So that's why I'm kind of running with it now. But ultra hip funk wave is just exactly what it is. Like it's for wave is kind of in the new wave era. Hip is like hip hop, you know. Ultra is just just everything. So it's just like it's a combination of where my headspace is right now.
And you know what? I always tell people, stuff happens on God's time or on the universe's time. And it's been amazing to me because I feel the same way about Ultra Funk Hip Wave, kind of how I felt about when you guys recorded Bizarre Ride. So it's like when you recorded Bizarre Ride, I was in pre-production studios as well as the big studios, but none of it made sense to me because I was never around to really hear a full song. I was there to hear like beats chopped up and tape run back over and over and over again and mixing of stuff. And so it's just a whole bunch of data is kind of what I heard. And so with Ultra Funk Hip Wave, I've heard the songs that you're doing, but it's like they've come to life, like the journey of the years of where you're in there. And I'm kind of like, man, and you know me, man, I listen to house and dance music every day, all day. I mean, we keep the door closed because I try not to interrupt you and let you do your thing or whatever. But it's been amazing to me because it's like the music that you have that is like dance music, even though you don't listen to that kind of music, and I turn it down, or I try to turn it down so that it doesn't impede, what you have going on. But it's like the dance music you make is right in line with the dance music that I listen to all day. And I'm like, damn, I heard what I heard demo and you working on beats. And then like you'd always, bring stuff to make beats when you travel and all that kind of stuff. And like, as it comes to life now, like with the single that you have out right now with Amy Correa Bell and her brother Les, it's like, I heard that song, but where it is now is kind of like, oh, okay. All right. You know what I'm saying? I was hearing him. I heard the concept and I heard the placement and the beat get made, but then now it's like I hear the song and I'm like, okay, that's cool. So how did you end up meeting Amy, and how did Suddenly come about?
So Amy I want to say I think she had did Passing Me By. It was like a TikTok or something like that. She had did Pass Me By. And I just saw her doing some stuff. And I was like, oh man, it's like this quirky girl kind of doing some stuff. Mm-hmm. And then at that time I was like, I don't know. I just saw it. And for whatever reason, I was like, man, maybe I just can do something with somebody that's because she didn't seem like she was in that hip hop zone or whatever you want to say. And I was just looking through something, and then I hit her up and she was like, oh, like it was just easy. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. And then it was like, okay, but it still wasn't hitting my mind. Like, okay, I was just thinking like, okay, let me just do this one-off song. And I wasn't thinking the concept of the whole ultra hip kind of thing. It was more or less like, let me just kind of work with this, artist. And then it came out, oh, she's Ricky Bell's wife and from New Edition and stuff like that. So then it was just like, okay, it's like it just started clicking. But I mean, for me, like I don't know, like I think through all of everything that we're going through personal and like all the stuff that we don't want to talk about and all the stuff that we stay away from, I think like it just kind of formulated itself. Like it was like, okay, now is the time. Like now, you know what I'm saying? And then it was perfect for me because I didn't want to make mad rapper songs. And I felt like the space that I was in, I could make the mad rapper, I got some beat type stuff. And I just didn't want to come on that vibe. So I was like, I had to go with the old school saying, if you ain't got nothing nice to say, don't say nothing at all. So it's like, and knowing that I could produce and just saying, okay, you know what, I'll let this fly. I won't just I'll let that anger subside into something else. And, I'll try to just make, and then at the same time, I always I like to dance and I like to go to the, I mean, you know, I like to hear like certain music. So I was like, man, why don't I give that a try? I felt like we did the Sublime, we did the skater punk rock stuff. We done did that. Like we done done a lot, you know what I'm saying? So I was like, man, I felt like it was just another area to kind of step into.
Dope. So what's the best advice anybody's ever given to you?
Geez, it would be the last words. It'd be the last words I heard from Pops, man. You know what I'm saying? He's like, don't let nobody define you. And I didn't understand it, you know what I'm saying? But
yeah,
it made sense because it was like you can get so comfortable in where you at and what you got going, and then it's like how people always said Pharcyde was like, oh, you know, Pharcyde's alternative, like you're alternative band, or you're this, or you're that, you know what I'm saying? And then sometimes the easiest thing to do is to fall into that category that somebody wanted to make you say that you are. And then once you put yourself in that category, if it gets broken down or destroyed, you feel wrecked. Like you don't know which direction to go, you know what I'm saying? So when Pops kind of broke that down to me and said it took me a long time to understand, but it's crazy that it was just right on time with everything that was going on. And so it was just like, okay, you know what? I can't let anything, not one thing, kind of put me in a place where I feel that I'm trapped and I have to abide by that system.
Conform. You know? Yeah, conform. And you know, that's interesting because when we interviewed Norwood from Fishbone, I saw a parallel with something that he said and kind of what I've seen you go through. And he was saying that, like, man, he was like, you know, man, I just got sick of doing frat boy rock. You know what I'm saying? And he was like, man, we were just a joke and we were just performing, you know, for these white fraternity guys and stuff like that. And like, that's the group that we were. And then I witnessed, you know, you guys as the Pharcyde, everybody wanted you guys to be the corny jokesters, the jovial and all that kind of stuff. And the parallel between the two is once Fishbone kind of got political and they wanted to like not be the jester. And then once you guys stop wanting to be the jesters, it's crazy how the world just kind of like
you fell off. The word that comes after you decide that you're not going to be that is that you fell off. Lab Cabin, oh man, you guys fell off, man. Some people still feel like that, you know what I'm saying? There's still people that feel like man, oh man, you fell off, man. The person that hurt me that said that was Chris Rock, because I was just like, man, here's a guy, and I didn't understand, but he's like, what happened? He's like, what happened to the jokes? They fell off, man. They fell off. And I was like, he just don't get it. He don't understand. And it's just like, man, but I get it from his level because the first record was comedy. And I think everybody just felt like, you know, comedy is saves the world or whatever. But I think the things that we had to say on the second album had to be said because there was just a lot of things going on, you know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm. So I got two more for you. I appreciate you hanging in here with me. Any advice to your past self?
Ooh. I would have to say,
you can't say nothing nice. Don't say it.
The words of Chuck D. Don't trust it. You know what I'm saying? Like, I mean, I don't know, man. I don't think there's. What could I tell myself? If I was to go back, I think I would have told myself to invest wiser.
Okay.
I think now that I just seen, not that I had a whole lot of money or there was a whole lot of money, but I think that there's some type of way that I could have invested better, whether it would have been, and I'm not saying like houses or something like that, but I'm just saying just we've been around a whole lot of circles and seen things
A
that
whole lot of money, man.
just seeing things come from the beginning, like dude, like MySpace and things of that, just like seeing the company start from ground zero, like you know what I'm saying? If I could go back into that time and say, man, you know what, I'll chop off an arm and just, man, if you could just let me get in on the deal, man, like you know what I'm saying?
I was trying to buy the owner of MySpace a drink, and I thought I was doing something, and I was like, yeah, man, what you want to drink, man, whatever. He's like, oh man, I'll have what you're having. And I was like, no, man, what you want to have? He said, what you about to get? I was like, oh, I'm about to get a Heineken. He said, yeah, I'll have a Heineken. And I was like, dang. But it's crazy because you say that because it was other dudes that was, man, they was trying to do any and everything to get close to the dude. But
I'm saying, dude, we've been in a couple places and we've seen a couple business deals go down. And I'm saying if I had to go back in time and I had the Bud Almanac, the sports book almanac, like he had to just pick the lottery numbers or something like that, I definitely would have invested. I would have spent some money to try to invest in certain things. So, but you know, it is what it is. We here, and I think we met some good people. We still know Roslyn and a lot of good people from that time that moved on and doing other things. So something came out of it.
All right, so now I'm gonna hit you with the last one. With everything we've seen with COVID, with where we at right now, social climate, every single thing, how do you see social progression going in the next 2 years?
Hey man, we about to see a Freaknik or something like that, man. These people are buck wild illy out here, man. You know what I'm saying? Dude, I don't know. With the whole AI thing, but I don't know, man. It's so much going on. But I think like what COVID did do was like salt and pepper, like it kind of like separated, because like there's certain people that always wear a mask now. Like my mom said she'll always wear a mask. Like she don't have no problem with it. She's like, yep, when I go somewhere, I'm wearing a mask. So it's just crazy how some people, like some of that stuff just adapted into everyday life. There's some people that they work from the house. You know what I'm saying? Like there's really people that work from the house now. They don't go to the job. So there's like, and so when you think about that, you just think like, oh, they work from the house, but you got to think like their social structure and everything is different from what they used to do. You know what I'm saying? Because now they they're not around people to go to work. You know what I'm saying? Like you're not around that crazy coworker. You're not around that pushy boss. Like, you know, you don't have to get up in that traffic and drive and like the frustration. So it's like your mind is completely different, not having to be around those elements. You know what I'm saying? And there's a lot of people like that. So whether they're going to be able to manifest and stay in that zone, or if they have to come back and, you know, what are they going to do if they have to blend back in? They say, you know what? No more working at home. We need everybody at companies now. Like, dude, some people are not going to be able to hang with that because they so used to being at the house, wearing their pajamas, you know what I'm saying, lounging, taking care of their dogs, you know what I'm saying?
Slides and pajamas.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? You know, a tie up top and a shirt, but down below they still got their underoos on, you know what I'm saying? So I think like social progression has, COVID turned it, I don't want to say turned it, but it kind of set markers in where people's lives are, how they're gonna carry out the rest of their lives. You know what I'm saying? They're gonna be social or not.
All right. So I want to thank you for the interview. You know what I'm saying? Shoot, man. we could do a series, man. We ain't even touched nothing. Like literally, like, literally, we done talked for a second.
I tell everybody, I'm like, dude, you got 40 years, man. There's no way that you can take 40 years and wrap it up into 2 hours or 4 hours, dude. It's a lot, man. It's a lot.
Well, I say, man, we need to find 50 and some of his people or somebody, man, and we need to have that 8-hour conversation and get paid, man. Both of us shit. I'll go to one island, you go to another island. You know what I'm saying? And call it a wrap. And call it a wrap.
There's a lot of stories. There's a lot of stuff that went down, and man, just shit, man. Pharcyde TV's been around for like 6-7 years. You know what I'm saying? And when I be hearing MCs talk about, yeah, I started in 2017. I'm like, dude, I was like, man, I was 2017. That's like the 8th. I don't know, like how many times that, like, shit, like I can't even imagine. That's a whole nother startup, man. Like fools done had 50 lives before 2017, and some people just starting. So it's interesting, you know what I'm saying, to be older, above 50 in the game, you know what I'm saying. Didn't think that was gonna happen, but it's here, and it's crazy, it's wild, but it's what it is.
So what do we have to look forward to on April 19th?
Yeah, so my second directed video, you know what I'm saying, it's gonna come out this Friday, April. Directed a video with Dustin Pearlman, did the shooting, Amy, suddenly last on the co-production. So we're gonna see how it goes, man. I don't put I don't want to put nothing on like that and say, oh, it's gonna be the greatest or whatever, you know what I'm saying? Like, basically, I self-invested. I put some money into it, some fairly decent money into it, and I look at it as I want to present myself in the best way possible to set my good foot forward. You know what I'm saying? So that's what I say. Like, this whole suddenly and May 19th is me trying to show that one individual, no team, you know what I'm saying, this team, you know what I'm saying, two people team could do something to a standard, to a level. And that's what I want to show, that you don't have to, what people think is like, oh, it has to be dirty, grimy, because you're just like it. I wanted to make something that people say, like, damn, this looks like, did a company do this? Are they signed? Like what label? Like, what's going on here? You know what I'm saying? I want to give it that type of look.
Nah, that's dope. Well, nah, man, I want to thank you for tapping in and doing this thing. You want to give your socials?
You can find me at Bootie Brown Official on IG, Bootie Brown OG on Twitter. And I don't do Facebook too much, but I'm there. And shit, man, there's a lot of more stuff coming on, you know what I'm saying? There's a lot of things we can't tell.
Yeah.
And there's things you can talk about, things you can't talk about.
Yeah, got a couple coals in the fire.
You know what I'm saying? But and there's some stuff for Pharcyde TV, hopefully, if it works out good. I mean, there's gonna be some stuff where people gonna see us in some interesting places, you know what I'm saying, in the future. But I think the most part, I wanted to say, I appreciate everybody, like you said, being frank, and there's there ain't a lot of us, you know what I'm saying, but there's some of us that or I won't say some of us, there's people out there that definitely show their love, and I appreciate it that those people continuously hit us up or stay and ride with us, and just kind of see the progression or digression, you know what I'm saying? Because I won't say it's always up, you know what I'm saying? There's some downs, and people get to see it, you know what I'm saying? But I appreciate people just standing there with us and and watching the movement, for sure.
Dope. Well, no, man, we'll bring you back in when you release the next single off of the project, and we'll have a whole nother conversation and just keep on evolving. So with that being said,